Hello, I saw this plane kit on Banggood a while ago, so I thought I'd give it a try. I haven't tried any planes of this style yet, and they look kind of interesting. In fact, the most interesting one that I've seen is the Alula glider sort of slope soarer thing, which looks really cool, but it's a little bit expensive, so I thought I'd get this one instead. This is still not actually that cheap, I think. It's $40, not bad, I suppose. And like I say, it's from this DWHobby place that last time I looked at their webpage, they didn't have anything at all, but it looks like they've fixed that now. They do actually have something on their website, and you can see they've got some other planes there. So this is the one I had before, I think, there. I don't know why this Wing 2 has gone up to $53 versus $22, especially when on Banggood you can get that for... on Banggood you can get that a lot cheaper. I think it's like $25 or something on Banggood or whatever. They still haven't quite figured out their website, I think, because when I click on the second page... Oh, it works now. Well, that's weird. It didn't work just before. Anyway, so they have other planes there. They've got some balsa kits too. And I think I've seen some of these on Banggood, so if you want to get them a little bit cheaper, I think you might try Banggood. Anyway, so it's EPP. It's about 1 meter in wingspan. And it's the specs there, and I think I'm going to try this as a slope soarer again. I really like the way that when you're building a slope soarer, you just don't have to mess around with half of the annoying stuff like the motor and the ESC and the battery and mounting all that stuff. You stick some servos on and a little battery and a receiver, and that's it. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And again, they're using a EPP which seems to be softer than the ones that the Hobby King EPP planes use, at least the Texumo and the Bonsai. They seem to be a little bit more less elastic, I think is the term I would use, because I noticed that when I bend the elevon up like that, it pretty much just goes back exactly to where it was, like a rubber band. It just sort of goes boing back exactly where it was. This one is perfectly straight. I can't really show you exactly down the edge, but that one is very, very straight. This one has a tiny little bend in it, and also a rather egregious spelling mistake. And I'm pretty sure it is supposed to be lightning, because we've got this sort of lightning pattern here and also lightning here, right? So it's definitely intended to be lightning. At least that's my take on it. This one has a little bit of a kink, a little bit of a bend in it at the end. It's not a big deal, but I just thought I'd mention it's not perfectly straight, but it's the kind of bend that I can't even really get it on camera to show you. So yeah, it's just a little curve up there at the tip. And again, I'm going to have to. These are way too stiff, so you pull on one end, and the other end. Oh, actually, it's not too bad in this one. But I think what I'm going to have to do is same as before. I'm just going to have to drag. Very carefully just drag a box cutter knife sort of thing along here just to loosen up this hinge. They've got the servo cavities on the bottom, and I'm going to cut the little top area of that out and put them in from the top. So that's the wings. Oh, there are 2 spars, and they've given you cutaways for the 2 spars to go in, so that's this line and that line. And they've also given you a cutaway for the servo cable there as well, so you don't have to cut those ones on this one. We have a tail piece, which is just a flat piece of EPP, and then we've got this rather annoying to construct by the looks of it, sort of a box to put the motor mount and the battery and stuff inside. So I'm not sure how you're going to construct this, but I guess holding it together with rubber bands while the glue dries would probably work. So the instructions there is like this. There's no glue in the kit, is there? No. But I've found that Gorilla Glue works really well on EPP. So the idea is that to get everything in, you're supposed to cut a little door like that, and I guess you could hold that together with the rubber band while it's flying. At least that's what I'm going to try. In fact, what I'm going to try first is I'm going to try and see if I can get the center of gravity close enough to the front without this pod, and if that works I'll just fly it without this pod, but I have a feeling that it's going to be very difficult to get the CG far forward enough without it, so I'll probably end up having to put it on even if I don't have a motor on it. So there's the spars there, 2 spars, and for the push rods they've given you one single piece of this wire, steel wire or push rod bar. Looks like about 1.5 millimeters in size. It's not the tiny thin one, because it has to be doing a little bit more pushing. I think it looks like about 1.5 millimeter diameter. And you get a couple of these little steel thingies in there for the servo connections, and the propeller, which is a 7 by 3.5 prop, and some little aluminium washer thingies which I'm not really sure what they're for, and prop saver rubber bands, and of course a bit of plywood for the motor to sit on, and some actuator horns. They are a little bit larger than the ones that were in that other DWHobby kit, which were really soft and supple, but unfortunately they are still quite soft. I'll give them a try, and I think they'll work okay on this one because the servo position and the position of the hole in the elevon that they've given you are lined up much better, and they're actually larger as well. Still quite thin and still quite soft, like still quite flexy, but you can see that the servo is going to be sticking out this side there, and the hole that it needs to go into is exactly in that line, so it should be pushing and pulling much more directly against the strong direction of this, rather than trying to push it sideways and bend it. So I think that'll be fine. These things, I've never tried these. I tried them once and I didn't like them, so I changed my mind, but probably won't use those. Yeah, so that's about all there is to it. I suppose I'll start putting it together, eh? Yeah, I think I've got the hang of what to do with these elevons when they're too stiff out of the box. You just take a knife like this and just ever so lightly just sort of drag it across the join, and all you're trying to do is just break the surface, the very top part of the surface, and then bend it. Try and bend it all the way back like that. And when you get to about here, it'll all of a sudden it'll go crack and open up. So all you've done is split the thick part of the EPP, the meaty part of the join, and then you're left with just a very thin layer on the top here. But it doesn't break through, so it's not going to fall off. But that gives it just the right sort of nice light movement. So yeah, just a little tip that might help you. Actually, while I'm at it, here's another little tip about that. You'll find that when you open it up and do that little crack thing, it'll then fold very easily around this way, so that to push the elevon up will be very, very light. But when you try and push it down, it will still be quite, it'll still have a fair bit of resistance, and that's because the meaty part of the foam is still there, hasn't gone away. So when you try and close it, it's still like it's trying to squash in on this foam, and it was quite difficult. So I found one way to get around that is to fold it all the way back, and then take the back side of the knife, or anything else I suppose, but nothing too sharp, and just pre-crush that little bit of meaty foam that's left. It'll just be a tiny little bump on the along the seam, and just sort of squash it down, and you can hear it sort of, maybe you can hear it sort of, has it sort of clicking sort of a noise as it squashes down, and then when you try and fold it down now, there's less resistance. Still a little bit of resistance, but quite a bit less. So now the movement in both directions is much lighter than it was before, and the whole thing moves as one instead of bending at the end like that. Lovely. Well, as usual, it's raining, but I thought I'd just have a little throw test and see how it goes just as I throw it. I'll just give it a little throw with no controls to start with. Okay. I guess that means it's a little tail heavy, huh? Cool plane, man. Oh, yeah. Okay, I have a spoon, a teaspoon, and a little piece of metal on there, and it's finally starting to kind of glide a little bit. I've glued a piece of 12mm square pine stick on here with Gorilla Glue. I love that Gorilla Glue, it's great, isn't it? Really does stick well. And this gives me another 25 maybe centimeters or so out the front, and I've just put a couple of drill bit things on there for weight. Don't have the controlling stuff on there at the moment, but this is giving me, if I put the elevons at just the right place, it gives me a fairly decent sort of a glide, although of course as soon as I try and film it, it's probably not going to do it. Okay, that wasn't too bad at all. So I think I'll put the electronics back on and see how it controls. Okay. Yay! I have some kind of control now. That's much better. That pitch control is difficult. It's quite hard to fly, I got to admit. I think with a motor it might be just fine. And a bit more speed and a little less throws might be just right. Funny that. Well, that's nice. Well, that was alright. It's about the best I can do, actually. Not bad. Not bad. I think it'll do just fine at the beach. So just heading to the beach to do some slope soaring now. Weather's looking great. But see, I'm not too worried because I've figured out how the weather works here. It's completely broken. It's going to stop in a minute, yeah. And then we're going to have, see the blue sky? We're going to have about a half an hour of no rain and maybe even some sun. And then we're going to have a bucketing down rain like we just had again. And it's just going to repeat like that for about every 40 minutes or so. At least that's been my experience in the last few months. See, look, here we go. Oops. See, now we're going to get some sun. Yeah. She'll be right, mate. Alright, I've come out to Raglan Beach again because I know this is a spot where the wind is very reliable, and especially today, there is a lot of wind here today. And obviously the main goal of coming here was to test how this DWHobby lighting wing will fly as a slope soarer, but since it's quite a drive for me to get here, I thought I'd bring some other things and see how they do on the slope soaring as well. There's obviously the 1 second from the bottom in that pile is the actual purpose-built slope soarer, the Ridge Rider. So if all else fails, I know I can fly that one. But I also have the Texumo and the Bonsai and the other DWHobby Rainbow wing, which I'll have to swap my electronics onto that one if I want to fly that one, but we'll see how it goes. And I also bought the Flight Test Spitfire. Not sure how well that will go, but we can find out, I suppose. The planes, apart from the two that I've got, or actually three that I've made for slope soaring, the Bonsai, the Texumo and the Flight Test plane, I've left the motor and everything on them. I haven't done any special, I haven't lightened them to make them better for slope soaring or anything. I thought with the wind being as strong as it is today, shouldn't be a problem. Plus it might be handy to have a motor to get me out of trouble just in case they don't work very well. I've decided to start with this one first because last time I did this I went all the way over there, but today I'm going to try it just like right here in front of the car, so I don't have to walk backwards and forwards all the time. But because it's a different location and the hill is a different shape, I just want to try it with one plane that is quite reliable so that I can feel where the good spots of lift are, because I found that was quite important to know that. That's what I learned in my last experience. Oh, it's pretty rough. Wow. Oh, it's either very turbulent or I don't have enough ballast in there, maybe. Maybe I will go over there after all. I'll give it one more try here, and if it doesn't work I'll go over where I was last time. Oh, it's bumpy. Shit. Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna go over there. Fuck. Can't even hold it. I'm not so sure this is gonna work. I can barely hold on to it. Wow. That's some wind there. can't even throw it. So I've put as much ballast in there as I could get. I think there's 3 in each side because I put one in the front to keep it there, so I don't have all 8 of them anymore. I don't really think it's going to make a whole lot of difference, but let's see. That's better, maybe. No. Oh, it's still too light, I think. See, it just can't go forwards. No, it's coming backwards. Look at that. It can't get through the wind. Not even this one. If this one can't get through the wind, none of those other ones are going to be able to. I'm sure this is the slipperiest one that I have. Is more ballast going to make it slipperier? I don't think so. So I don't think there's any chance in hell that this one's going to work. But since I've driven all the way out here, I might as well at least give it a throw and see what happens. I'm not even going to attempt it without adding some more ballast though, so I put this screwdriver on there. Not sure if it's in the right place, but who cares? It's probably not going to work anyway. Alright, here goes nothing. Yeah. Ah, shit. God, this is impossible. Nah. It's just not going forward at all. So I guess the question is more... Fucking stay still. Is more ballast going to help it push through the air? Or is it just a matter of... Oh, this is falling off, huh? Or is it just a matter of the shape of it and the material, like the surface, being not smooth or something like that? Or is it a matter of oh, let me try putting this right at the front, and then I'll go home because I'm getting sick of this. Okay, screwdriver is right at the front. This may just be the last throw for today. I've just about had enough. we'll give it one more. One more. Last one. Really last one this time. Okay, that doesn't count. Last one. It hit my head as it went past because I can't hold the fucking thing still. Let's try again. That's it. So I just gave up and went home at that point. Didn't look like anything was going to work, not even the purpose-built slope soarer. I had a little chat to Uncle Bruce and he said that, yeah, it's just a matter of the wind being too much, at least for small planes of this size. They just don't have enough weight to get through it, really. So you can see, though, I think from that last throw, that if it wasn't for the wind being so strong, this DWHobby plane would have done just fine, I think. So I'll take it back out there again, along with all the other planes, and when the wind is not so strong, I know how to avoid these days now, and I'll attempt this another time in the future, I think. Anyway, hope that wasn't too boring. Just a bunch of fails, really, wasn't it? But anyway, thanks for watching.